Have you seen them? They're all AI now.
Okay, quiet in the studio. Oh, why do you keep on doing that?
Who?
I'm telling you now, it's so unprofessional. Here we go. Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is Jonathan Starkey, a.k.a. Ab Fab, your delightful, delicious, delovely host of that wonderful digital pub called Cheshire Matters. And the person groaning in the background is the most muted man in history. Say hello, the Raven.
Good evening, listeners. Or good afternoon, listeners. It could be any time, like you said, because he doesn't know what he's doing. But hope you're having a great week so far. Hope you're sort of able to tolerate his ramblings. He's get on our nerves. And he's moaning continuously about the pain he's in, which is proof that God does exist, really.
The one-armed bandit has a problem at the moment. Say hello, Trevor Nicholls, a.k.a. the Gazelle. How are you, sir?
Good afternoon or good evening or whatever it may be to all our wonderful listeners.
Yes.
Very decisive on this programme.
All 7 of them. 7,000, that is. But there you go. All right, here we go. And to that wonderful man, the man with all the facts. The facts checker, not the fat checker. Statsman. Say hello, Stats.
Good morning and aloha. That's a tribute to those in Hawaii at the minute.
Well, we've been invaded by someone from the south. His name is Mr. Ian Dale. Say hello, Mr. Ian Dale.
Hello there to Cheshire Mashers listener. Yeah, you're getting in the style of things, right? You know you're going to get muted straight away. Anyway, there you go. All right. Okay, so we've got all the introductions out of the way. Shall we go straight on to the roundup? Okay,
excuse me, just 1 second, please. I need to ask a question. Have we now got a Cockney on the programme?
Cockney.
We've got a Cockney. Yeah, he's so Cockney, he's cockneyed. Yes, he's come all the way down, up from the south to come and see us today. He's on his way to Lancaster. He's off for some sort of a break. I don't know what it is. But anyway, and he's coming down.
Staying at your place?
Yes, he is. He's staying here.
I don't know how he's going to survive. He'll never be the same man again.
I know.
It must be bad down south if he's come to stay with you.
Well, I'm hoping we're going to get some comments out of him regarding you, Les. All right, I think it was a bit of a sore subject with him. But anyway, all right, so let's move on with the roundup and let's get into it straight away. Our dear friend, Mr. Simon Byrne, late of the Cheshire Police Constabulary, has had a problem because he's now the head of PSNI, Northern Ireland, and they've had a data breach. And it's quite a bad one, so I'm feeling a little bit sorry for those people down there because it's quite sensitive. Anyway, I know that the cutter would be interested in hearing about this. We have the failure of Sturgeon has ensured that the union is more secure than ever.
Fabulous news.
It's gonna stay together. We know that. What about, here's one for Statsman. Midwives must call trans patients birthing people.
Sheep.
Well, guess who's actually writing these things for all the NHS trusts?
Some lunatic.
Stonewall.
No brain cells.
Stonewall.
Of course they are. Hey, I went to the cinema and he said, "Hello, sir."
Sir.
You'll do for me, mate. I said, you'll do for me. But don't assume my gender, my love.
I got called sir, and I'm so old, they didn't even get the joke because I turned around and I said to him, "You can't call me sir." And the guy said, "Why?" And I said, "Because I didn't keep up my payments to Tony Blair before he left government." I said, "For my knighthood." He just looked at me with a blank face. He didn't understand the joke. Anyway, it was a joke. You know, you were supposed to laugh there. I'm going to put cue laughter in there as a sound effect. It was funny, wasn't it, Trevor?
I thought it was hilarious, Mr. Landlord. Great joke.
What a creep. What an absolute creep. What a creep.
Oh, God. And what about flip-flopping Keir Starmer and net zero?
Oh, my God.
Anybody?
He's worse than Boris during lockdowns, isn't he? God, imagine if he was in charge, in your house, out your house, put your mask on, take your mask off, put it on, take it off. This area, that area. You're free, you're not free.
Okay.
10 jabs, one jab, 3 jabs. The better. He'll just about, if he does even, make the election, and then there'll be a coup. He's gone.
The kids are going to be playing that game, aren't they? You remember what it used to be? You know, it used to be 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4. It's going to be 1 jab, 2 jab, 3 jab, 4.
No, he's just 1 potato, isn't he?
So you don't like him then?
No, that's harsh on potatoes. I take that back.
I think Mr. Dale is very nervous at the moment. He's just not commenting on anything. He's looking across the track. He's trying to get the feel of what's going on, and you're not going to be able to do it. But anyway, okay. Civil servant headcount is up by a quarter since 2016.
Yeah, now we need more. We need more.
What, more civil servants?
More civil servants. Fill it up. Fill them up.
Well, I'm not finding them very civil at the moment, because I've got an argument with some of them going on at the IPO, which we're going to be covering in a special, which we're going to record on Thursday. If everybody's okay for that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, campaigners say milk should be called...
Go on.
You ready for this? Bovine mammary secretions. Somebody going to pull the udder one? Come on.
Here's a good question. What was the first person doing when he discovered that you could get milk out of a cow?
I don't know.
It doesn't bear thinking about. It's a very strange person, whoever it was.
He got a shock. Whoa.
But actually, it was the goat that he was in love with first. Found out from the goat. What about this one? A vintage double-decker bus was slapped with a fine for being in a bus lane.
Say that again.
This guy is running a fleet of buses, old double-decker buses, and because they were running in the bus lanes in this particular area, he got fined for each of the buses, and he's running a tour. I think it's out in Newcastle way, somewhere around about there. All right, what about this? Okay, now look, come on now, listen. This is funny. Okay, I'm prepping this so that you laugh. You ready? And this was from Twitter.
X.
My uncle was on holiday in France recently. He took the family for a lovely day at the beach. He nipped into the sea for a little paddle, and the effing RNLI picked him up and took him back to England. He's absolutely fuming.
The RNLI, or was it not the French Navy?
Oh, God, don't. We'll get onto that international. Okay. Now, while I was looking through Twitter, I came across a guy called Northern Variant, and his Twitter handle is @FUDaily.
Yeah, nice one.
That's really, really great. Now, he put down, and this is what caught my eye, he said, xenophobia equals evolutionary instinct and experience. Now, you're going to like this. He said, that's why refugees aren't welcome. Third world men with Stone Age values are demonstrably a threat to the safety and freedom of British women. Now, who's going to disagree with that?
Not me.
No, there you go. So economic migrants masquerading as refugees aren't owed anything. They have no right to be here. We have no obligation to them whatsoever. The obligation that we have is to our sisters, mothers, and daughters to ensure their hard-won liberties survive. It is disingenuous to pretend these men are the same as us. It is dishonest to claim that they are refugees. There's a good reason people are xenophobic, and there's only one reason you'd ignore that instinct: stupidity. Now, I thought this guy was talking real common sense. And this thing, go ahead, Steve.
I was just going to say, this is what we've been saying for
years. I know. And I said the same thing to this guy. Yeah. I commented on Twitter. I said to him, we've been talking about it for years, you know, especially a man called The Raven. I said, it's not racist. He said, it's not racist to want to maintain the social fabric of your country. It's not racist to keep out alien cultures who don't respect your culture. A nation can sustain a reasonable level of immigration from compatible countries, but not at the expense of social cohesion. Now, we've been saying that for years. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 quick points, which is, first of all, we have a duty. I've said this many times, and I'm going to keep repeating this periodically because it's important. We have as a duty as men to protect the women and children of our indigenous population against perpetrators who seek to arrive here. Not everybody, but there are people who arrive here who are unknown. We don't know if they are thieves, fraudsters, rapists, murderers, paedophiles, or terrorists. And we have a duty to the women and children of this country to protect them. Second quick point is this. We also have a duty as white Christian men to protect our heritage.
Indeed.
And our indigenous sovereignty.
Okay. Well, let's end the roundup on a funny one here. Okay, you ready for this? Essex police talk about from the mouths of babes. Essex police investigate reports of a man taking dummies from babies' mouths. He goes up to them. He snatches the dummies out of the babies' mouths.
It's obviously a complex.
4 incidents were reported around Harlow. What were you doing in? Were you doing anything in Harlow, Ian?
Oh, yeah, blame me.
4 incidents were reported around Harlow between the 10th of February and the 7th of August. A child was also assaulted on one occasion. So the suspect is described as slim, white, aged in his 20s, with light brown eyes and yellow teeth. Okay, with a string of dummies around his neck.
Suck on that.
Suck on that. Police have released an image of the man they would like to speak to in connection with the incidents. Jesus, Ian, it does look like you know. I tell you. Oh,
he just
you got a
comforting.
Comforting. Very good.
You got a description for a dummy thief, but like when it's serious crimes.
Oh, no. Don't talk about dummy thieves. We're going to talk about that in the National. But anyway, all right.
The government.
I would urge you to continue. This is from the police inspector. I would urge you to continue going about your daily business as usual, but be vigilant of anyone acting suspiciously. Can you imagine all the babies going around going, Mom, Mom, I don't like the look of him.
He's after me, dummy.
My only asset that I've got at the moment.
You're going to be looking for a granddad with an empty pram, aren't you? Yeah. Basically, that's walking around.
I couldn't get over that one. Stealing dummies from a baby's mouth as they're going along. I mean, can you imagine it? I mean, I remember being at a party one time, and there was a guy with a little tiny water pistol. And as somebody went past at the party that he didn't like, he'd squirt the water pistol at the back of their head, and they'd look around, to see where it was and where it was going from. I thought that was really good. All right, okay, so you didn't like that. Okay, I don't care.
Did they never catch you then?
Get out, or your idea of a night out is something else, to be honest.
Oh, right, okay. Well, listen, we're going to go along with the National. We're going to extend this, and this is going to be with stats in a lot of this. Okay?
Yeah, thanks.
Right. We're going to be talking about the French patrol boat fault, because there was a genuine, massive problem that happened, and there was sad loss of life in the Channel. And the question is, was the French patrol boat at fault for the Channel migrant drownings? MPs ask if the dinghy was being escorted into British waters before the tragedy that saw 6 of them die. Go ahead, Stats. Give us your thoughts on this.
I'd say that the blame firmly lands on the shoulders of the people themselves who died for getting in the boat.
In the first place?
There needs to be some responsibility. They chose to take that dangerous trip and not stay in any of them safe countries along the way. I reckon the French government for allowing this constant flow to enter our waters and their waters in unsafe vessels. And I'd say our government for not defending our waters, because Rishi's called it a warlike emergency when he's changing planning laws, to get them into hotels and stuff. Well, if it's a warlike emergency, where's the Navy to defend our waters? And actually, most importantly, the activists who encourage these journeys, who are now asking for more safe and legal routes, yeah, they'll spin it.
But how are they going to do it? There was a Labour MP, I think it was Peter Kyle, who was on GB News. Yes, we do watch GB News occasionally. And he was turning around saying that the Home Office civil servants are only working to 50% of their capacity. So therefore, there's literally no real processing going on. And he said Labour are going to change all of this. Go ahead, Steve.
I don't believe anything is going to change if the British public keep putting their trust, in brackets, into either the Conservative Party or the Labour Party. It is a complete fallacy now to realise, or to keep believing rather, that these parties are acting in the interests of the British people. It is a nonsense. They will do nothing whatsoever about uncontrolled immigration, legal and illegal. This country cannot keep sustaining this, and I'm sick and tired of it. I'm currently in a discussion, or have been today, online with a former Labour councillor in Chester who is spouting the same old anti-conservative rhetoric, but will never address her party's failings on immigration along with the Conservatives, and it just becomes this red-blue argument, which is completely out of date.
Oh, yeah, it's just the football.
I'm sick of it.
Well, there was documents leaked, and I think it was Mayor Tusi that came out with it and broached the subject, that this problem is going to go on for the next 5 years.
Well, it'll be too late. It'll be too late. This country cannot sustain this level of people coming in week after week for another 5 years. People are already talking. Labour, I'm seeing this former, I'm going to talk about this very briefly. This former Labour council is talking about the pressure on public services, the lack of funding. Doesn't want to address £7 million a day for supporting illegal immigrants. Doesn't want to address the fact that they were responsible initially for uncontrolled mass immigration and the betrayal of their party towards this country whatsoever. And this can't. We haven't got 5 years to stop this. It's got to stop now.
It's got to stop.
People, if they're illegal, I'm sorry, get them sorted, get the facilities organised, and get them shipped out of here. If people don't want to hear that, if they call that racist, I don't give a damn. It's not racist. If they're here illegally, they're here illegally.
Yep.
Ta-ra, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Not meant to be here.
Well, that's coming from the Lee Anderson School of Diplomacy there. Go ahead, Stats.
It's never going to end. It's not going to be 5 years. I've got a theory. I think they've leaked this on purpose to make it look like we can fix this within 4 to 5 years if you give us another chance. Yeah. This is never going to end.
No, sound bites.
They know they're coming over and you're going to make more safe and legal routes and then put them in nice places and bend over backwards for them. Or are they just going to stop in 5 years?
What gets me is they're getting
liars.
They're getting high quality hotels. And I joked on the last podcast to say that, I wanted to raffle off tickets for the Bibby. For us to go out, because you've got food there 24 hours a day on tap. You get 3 meals a day, but there's also food available 24 hours a day. They get taxis, buses,
phones, taxis, emergency dental appointments, emergency GP appointments, hospital treatment, the lot.
When is the government?
No issue.
When is the government going to start treating our own people in the same way that they're treating these people?
You'd have to have a patriotic government to do that, and we haven't got one.
We haven't got one. We're actually at war. That's the truth. And what we should be doing is we should be sending people out to get these traffickers. We should be sending people out to go get them and stop them.
Yes.
Because if we were being invaded,
we are.
Yeah, well, we are being invaded. But if we were being invaded in wartime, where people were coming onto our shores.
They are.
Rishi says it's war. You've just said they're coming.
They're coming. Shore, so why are we not using our defensive capabilities to go get these traffickers?
Well, I'm sorry, John.
You can't do that. You're going to upset them.
The first point of call in all this is prosecuting members of Parliament
for traitor. The traitors.
The traitors. That's
the traitors to the people of this country. I'll say it straight out. They should be doing stuff. In America, Mayorkas, who's the secretary, for the borders over there, he's actually been accused of being a traitor. He's actually
sorry, Jonathan.
Well, he's allowed nearly 1.2 million Mexicans to come across the borders, and they're bringing fentanyl and it's killing. He said it's actually killed 70,000 Americans, which is more than the amount of American lives that were lost in Vietnam. He said, why are we not sending people out to go get these cartels? He said, why are we not doing it? The Democrats aren't allowing it. And I'm saying the same thing here. Why are we not going and attacking these traffickers, getting them out? I mean, because we got some of the best intelligence services in the world, but we just do not have intelligence in government.
It's the legal system. It's the lawyers. They're coming off this baby Stockholm now, saying that they're being re-traumatized.
Yeah.
15 of them that came off, all with the same spiel.
Yeah.
That they're being re-traumatized. You don't think for 1 minute the solicitors, all the lawyers are not just sat right at the side of that gangplank waiting for them to come off saying, this is what we're going to do. You're re-traumatizing you. We can get you thousands and thousands of pounds.
I know. Go ahead, Stats.
Well, apparently we're going to be sending them another 480 million, France.
What?
For doing NAFOR, going to that league thing. So the more the way we send, the more money we send, the more migrants we get.
That's right.
So Belgium apparently are actually stopping them. Not that I heard they were coming from there in the first place, but if Belgium can stop them with no money, maybe just give France. What would Donald Trump do? He'd say, you're not having any money. All our people on your side are coming back to our country. We're going to put them all on the border, and the Navy are going to come out, and anyone who sails into our water, bye-bye.
That's it. And, von der Leyen has turned around and already commented in the EU to say that Britain is not allowed to send these people back to France. How about that? Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I'm just going to say this. Is it not worth the British people considering class action against MPs operating against the British people?
Well, if you read the Fraud Act 2006, you couldn't be closer to the truth about that.
Well, I'm just going to propose this for consideration, because there may be somebody out there who may wish to initiate such proceedings as issuing commercial liens against members of Parliament for operating, if they do, that is, against the British people.
Okay, lads, he's on his own. When you see him being dragged off to the tower, we'll come and visit him.
Well, I'll fight them all the way. I'm sick of this nonsense. The fact of the matter is, these people are selling out their own people.
Country and their own people.
False promises to get elected and then betraying their own people.
Okay, and I noticed that, Mr. Dale, you've been very quiet through all of this, sir. Have you got any comments to make? You're going to call us racists or what?
No. Would I far be from doing that? Mr. Ingram's making some good sense here tonight. It's normally is...
What?
Makes a change.
That's it. He's muted. He's just been muted for saying that. You know, don't say things like that. I'm going to bring you back on. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't agree with what Steve's saying at all. It is a crying shame that there's a lot going on in this country at the moment where the British people are actually standing up and thinking, you know what? We elect these people into government, but what are they doing for us? How are they helping us?
True.
You know, we elect them because we have belief in the fact that they can run the country for us. Well, if they were any good at running a business, then they would run their own businesses. They can't do that, so they just play about with money, our money,
other people's money,
and waste it and have things going on that none of us are happy with.
Well, of course, also like sort of buying shares in companies that are just about to, do well, like in PPE, which Mark went into and stuff like that. You know, they seem to get the ins on doing things like that. Over. Will you yield, sir, to the Gazelle? You're supposed to say yes.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Go ahead, Gazelle.
Thank you, Ian. Thanks for that. I just want to endorse what Mark was saying earlier on as regards Trump. What we need in this next parliament, we know who's going to get in, I should imagine.
Yeah.
So what we need basically is a Sir Keir Trump.
Starmer. Which leads me on nicely to this next story, which I'm sure that our southern invader will have lots of things to say about, which is about ULEZ across the UK. So how many people are going to trust flip-flop Starmer over the row not to roll out ULEZ across UK? Go ahead, Statsman.
Not me, because apparently he's part of Tony Blair Institute.
You're joking.
I
watched that video that you sent.
Yeah, he still thinks he's Prime Minister, and he's probably actually more influential and changing more and in more governments in the world than the WEF.
Yeah.
So under the radar, he's in the background, and Tony Blair's one of his little puppets.
Yeah. Well, for people not in the know, WEF is the World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
Run
So
by Klaus Schwab. Yeah.
While they're talking the talk, Tony Blair's actually doing it all behind the scenes.
Well, let's get it from the horse's mouth. Nay, he says. Go ahead, Ian. Tell us what your views are on ULEZ.
Well, where we are, right on the border of the normal zone and the ultra low emission zone.
Yeah.
There's 48,000 people in the action against unfair LEZ.
Oh, yeah.
And ULEZ. Cameras are coming down. We've got I don't know if any of you Northerners have heard of the Blade Runners.
Oh, yes. Oh, we're already there.
And the Blade Runners are taking down the cameras. Now, there are people that saying that, we shouldn't be criminally
acting. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
In this way, but when we stand up and we try and make a voice and we act collectively as a voice, we don't get heard.
No, and there's no accountability over the other side.
None whatsoever. So people are actually taking it into their own arms now and doing things that will maybe make people sit up and listen, that there are a massive group of people that disagree with the fact that it's an unfair, unjust tax that we're being imposed on.
That's right.
£12.50 does not make a car cleaner.
No.
They're saying it's an ultra low emission zone to make the air cleaner, but okay, if you pay £12.50, then you're allowed in. Well, that doesn't make the air cleaner, and if you don't pay it, it's £160 fine. Yeah,
you were telling me something earlier on about some lorry or something like that got fined 300 and something.
That was in Bristol. That was a motorhome that was over 3.5 tons because she needed it for. She was disabled and needed it for a wheelchair, and she drove through a clear air zone.
Yeah.
And didn't know that she was in the zone, and she's now, because she didn't pay it and she's been fined, it's £360 for that one mistake that she made.
Where the hell did these people get off? I mean, I thought we had free travel in this country.
It's an unfair tax, isn't it? It's a way of getting revenue. 14 million or 14 billion that they're in debt?
Oh, Bristol.
No, the London.
The London mob. Yeah.
TfL are in debt.
TfL are in debt. There's no doubt about that.
And they need the money.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Go ahead, Gazelle.
Well, it's like, just imagine when it comes, and it will do. It's not as if it won't. Andy Burnham's on standby already. As soon as Khan gets it in, Andy Burnham will get his in. Now, Andy Burnham is covering 60 square miles, so you're going from Wigan to Stockport on that.
Wow.
Now, the likes of Ian, if Ian is travelling from down south across to Lancaster, as he stated, I'd say within 3 to 5 years, you'll be travelling through all these different zones. So what's that going to cost you on top for the congestion charges alone if you travel from London to Scotland?
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm going to go on here.
They do have like corridors that you don't need to pay. So if you're going through, like on the motorway, if you're going around the M25, you might actually be going through the emission zone, but you don't have to pay there because there's thin corridors of roads that aren't included.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's the loophole for certain people, if they know it. Go on, Steve. And then Mark. Steve, very quick.
Adding on to what Trevor has said there about various zones, London and then the Manchester area and other zones that may come in with this system. Don't forget that at some point, because there is this sort of idea out there that we may be moving towards a smart motorway network, and that will be for a reason, because the idea of motorway tolls is also being bandied about. So Trevor is correct. You could end up starting from one point of the country, travelling right through it with a whole succession of charges right throughout your journey. This is where we're heading, unfortunately, unless people wake up and do something about it.
Unbelievable. Go ahead, Trevor.
Well, they have. The Blade Runners have done it. Well done, them.
Well done, them. Okay, Statsman?
Yeah, wait until he does his paper mile.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was saying.
Says he's not
paper
doing
miles
it,
next, yeah.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's not about the environment. It's all a scam. It's all for
Well,
money.
going back to what Steve just said there, the smart motorways are designed for that. I've been saying this 5 years ago.
Yeah.
When they started bringing in the first smart motorways.
Yeah.
You don't think for 1 second that they're spending these billions of pounds upgrading motorways for us.
Yeah.
And they're putting gantries on every second gantry. There is a camera. That camera will be monitoring all your number plates, and you'll be charged per mile up and down the motorways, as well as all your congestion charges.
We're being set up. Go ahead, Stats.
Has anyone driven on motorways recently?
Yes.
Can you ask how many times did you manage to actually do 70? Because I drove up the northeast, and majority of the time it's flashing 40. It's all for the environment. And then I'm driving around in the northeast, and there's a speed camera every 20 metres. So if you're not getting stung by these charges, you're going to have to really have your eye on your speedometer. Otherwise, you're getting a speed limit everywhere.
Yeah, well,
they're doing that on the
believe
motorways.
how many there were.
Sorry. Yeah,
Well,
they're doing
Ian
that on the
travelled
motorways.
All the A roads, the motorways, the lot. They were
Ian
everywhere.
travelled up today. So what was your average speed? Could you do 70?
But rarely, yeah.
Do you know what they were doing where I was? You'd
Go
be
on.
on a road, it'd be 30. The next minute, it changed to 40.
Yeah.
And then it's 30, then it's 40. And I kept doing that every 20 metres and the speed cameras. And I'll be really surprised if I haven't got a fine after that journey
Yeah,
and
and
back.
it's all done deliberate as well.
Yeah.
I travel up and down the motorways on a daily basis for my job. And you're driving along and suddenly it goes to 40,
Yeah.
then to 60, and there is no change in the flow of traffic.
Yeah, I got it. Okay,
Isn't it?
well,
And then they'll just fine you.
But aren't they saying part of this is like keeping us all within our cities? You know, we're not allowed outside various zones. You know, we're actually being herded, I think, by politicians in many ways, and staying within our little confined boundaries. You know, herd them with fear.
okay, last word, Steve, and then we're moving on to another part of that roundup, and then we got a local. Go on.
Yes, Ian is actually correct more than he perhaps realises. Agenda 2030 is about smart cities. It is about containing the population. It is about taking people out of rural areas into controlled environments where they can manage people and manage the environment under the banner of climate change. And that's exactly what it's about. So he's 100% correct.
Okay, and final word on that is I noted that there was a guy who was giving a verdict on his electric car, and he took his BMW in to be serviced, his electric BMW, and they actually downloaded from the computer on the car his complete journeys for the last 6 months, showing where and when he went over the speed limit, and he was just absolutely gobsmacked about it. And he just thought to himself, that is not what I call conducive to free living in the United Kingdom.
It isn't.
I know he didn't like that at all. And he didn't like the fact
Totalitarian.
that the garage may also legally in the future have a duty to hand over that information to the police. So how about that? So anyway, all right, let's move on. What about the TikTok robbers in London? Social media said go out and rob, some sports store. And they all went out and they robbed. Did you hear about that, Ian?
No.
Okay. Well, anyway, police have arrested at least 9 individuals following a TikTok trend that called on groups of teenagers to engage in riots and looting at a sportswear store on London's renowned Oxford Street. The disturbance was set off by a troubling trend on social media, particularly on TikTok and Snapchat, where messages urged for riots and looting. And it was at JD Sports. All right? Now, comments? Because there was a lot of activity in the press about it. Anybody?
Well, Oxford Street's numbers have gone down, so maybe they just wanted more people in Oxford Street.
Get the footfall up.
Yeah.
So you're saying that JD Sports, this is a big publicity thing, and they'd be saying, "Come on in, yeah, here's the stuff we want you to take it.
Clever marketing.
This is stock that we couldn't get rid of. Take this, steal this." Yeah, right. Okay. Well, anybody else? Trevor.
Yeah, bring it on. That's all I can say. I want a pair of Nike, size 9. I want a 32-inch TV for a bedroom and a new toaster.
All right, mate, we'll get that for you, no worries.
Real cockney, Smith, hear that? Yeah, we're on it. Rob to order. All right. Go ahead, Mark.
Why do we always get the worst trends from America? Have we got no imagination? Can they not think of their own? Do you know the thing about this is Rishi says that we're going to use the full force of the law, and I bet you they're terrified. Is it going to be the same as all the nonsense being let off for child porn? Because I'm sure they're petrified. And then Braverman said we're going to hunt them down and lock them up. How do you hunt someone down who's wearing a balaclava and gloves?
Sound bites.
Honestly, we're just led by donkeys. But what I want to know is what culture and mindset breeds this behaviour, because it's definitely not ours.
Well, let me put it this way. I was in a pub on Paradise Street. I was going down with a guy called Bobby Turner. Now, if anybody is old enough, they'll remember the Black Abbots. And we went into this pub before we were going into Radio Merseyside. And we were in there, and it was in the wintertime. It was cold outside. So we went in, and we were having a drink, and we got a tap on the shoulder. And I turned around and I looked and I didn't recognize who the guy was. And he turned around and he went, Oi, anybody want a telly? And Bobby turned around to this guy and he said to me, what kind of telly? He said, well, which one do you want? So he said, he gave him he was asking him for a specification, and it was called stealing to order.
No, yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, go on, Mark.
I think these kids, they live in one of the most developed third world cities on earth, don't they? So they should do something with the opportunity and make something of their lives. Absolute rats. Then you've got Braverman again. We cannot allow the kind of lawlessness seen in some American cities to come to our streets.
Hello. Oh, yeah, but it's going to happen anyway, isn't it?
Already is.
Yeah.
Again, I think like the borders and the channel, I think we need the army to come in and clear the streets of these parasites.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to do it again when they're getting slapped around by the SAS? Don't think so.
Well, here's another type of lawlessness, which is going to take us in to the local, and that is that Cheshire East Council is upping the charges on their... What are they, Mark?
Garden waste. No, they're not upping them. They're not upping them. No, they'd actually already invested in a recycling centre or whatever it is for this, so they were free. Not anymore.
They're going to charge for them.
Yeah.
And how much is the charge? Do we know?
56 quid, mate.
That's more expensive than Cheshire West.
Well, the reason they say is because they don't have a longer shutdown over winter, so it's tough. You pay more.
I didn't know that Cheshire West shut down over winter.
No, I mean they have. You wouldn't miss them, would you?
No.
Remember the lockdowns?
Yeah, quite right. Come on, Steve.
Cheshire East Council, by any chance, in debt?
Well,
Only all.
If we were to do a freedom of information request, we may just be able to get the figures off them, but they don't like letting things out. Like our ladies down at Cheshire West, they don't like coming onto the show to actually justify certain things that they say. Yeah.
It's, again, though, John, 60% of the respondents to the consultation did not support this.
That's right.
And it's being challenged by the fake Conservatives who were on the ball again, aren't they, after the event?
Oh, after
the
event.
Well, I think it was the Environmental Committee who voted for it. I think all the fake Conservatives voted against it, but obviously they were outvoted.
But we're all right. We've got the cavalry's running right up behind us, so we've got no problem at all. The monitoring officer is on our side.
Is that right? Are you talking about CWAC? Vanessa Whiting?
Cheshire East.
Oh,
yes.
Cheshire East.
Yeah, the monitoring officer is on our side. It's another quango with no teeth.
Indeed. Toothless tiger. Yep, indeed. Let us get a southern perspective on that. Do you have to pay for your recycling, sir?
We have brown bins for garden waste.
Yeah.
That you have to pay extra for, yeah.
You do pay extra. How much do you pay? Is it like £200?
I chuck it in the bloke's bin next door.
You're taking a tip. You're taking a tip from the Gazelle.
Plan.
Don't get the Gazelle on his back passage, I'm telling you now. He could go on about his back passage for quite a while, I can tell you. So you put it in your... That's disgusting.
Well,
when this goes out, I'm going to check your neighbours. I'm going to send them a communication to say, check your bins.
I've got to be clear. I did invest in artificial grass, which is great when you've got 3 dogs, and the main garden is a large hedge, and we share the hedge. So I reckon if I cut it, I can stick the waste in his bin.
There you go. So, all right, Trevor, what do you think about it?
Rubbish.
Yeah, okay, all right, that's fine. Steve, final word on it?
Nothing really, to be honest. I've got nothing to say. It's just another one of those stupid council stories where they're just looking to either pay off the debt or fill the pension funds.
Yep, yeah, there you go. That was brilliant. Gap. Say that again. Pay off the debt or
fill up the pension funds.
There you go. That's the main fundamental point of what they're doing. Very good. Okay. All right, I'm calling time on that. Steve, get to the bar and buy something for our southern friend here.
No, I'm not running off to the bar again. I'm fed up with this, and I've decided that I'm happy to keep the moths in my wallet.
Oh, after you explained that you let some of them out.
Yeah, it's true. I opened my wallet a few months back, and a moth did actually fly out of my wallet.
I wish I'd have been there to record what the moth was saying. Anybody got any ideas what the moth would be saying as he opened his wallet?
Yeah. Wow, it's good to be free after 20 years.
No, I think he'd be saying, is that light? Is that light? All right, shout outs, shout downs. Go ahead. Who's going to go first? Stats looks like favorite.
I can do it.
Go on.
Right. It's going to be a kind of, well, I've decided, if that's all right, it's going to be a quick shout down followed by a quote.
That's all right. It's okay with you. It's not with the Raven.
So I'm going to shout down Sage because these bonkers scientists are at it again. Apparently COVID's coming again. It's the real deal. My advice to them is if you're still worried about it, lock yourselves in your houses until it's disappeared. Don't forget to mask up in bed in the shower. Take your 77th booster and hopefully we'll never hear from you again.
Good.
God, scaremongering obsessed lunatics. Right, so this is a quote. I think someone put this in the group. No, you will not be mandating anything to me. Apparently, there's some confusion on your part about the relationship we have. You work for me. I'm not your servant nor your slave, and I will not be talked down to. I will not be mandated to. I will not be forced to do anything against my will. You are my employee. It's not your place. Get it straight. We the people.
Nice one, Mark. Corking that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It never work in marriage, though.
I'm single.
You're lucky man.
Yes,
lucky
it's
man.
Hobby it's your hobby. You need to change your hobby.
I'm telling you. All right. Okay, Stevie, go ahead. Shout down, shout up, shout sideways.
A shout out, actually.
Oh, a shout out. Okay.
One. And it kind of follows on. Do you remember us talking about, we've done it a number of times, talking about protecting our heritage and supporting Christian churches as part of that?
Yep.
And we were talking at some point about churches being in demise and you see them falling apart and sold off. Well, we were in Rhyl in North Wales last week.
Unlucky.
And, well, it's on the up. Rhyl is on the up, actually.
I'm joking. I went there myself.
And there's a lot going on. It'd be nice place. They're doing a lot every year there at the moment. But there's a little place, and it's called the Sussex Street Christian Centre.
Yeah.
It was formerly a Baptist chapel many moons ago. It's still on the go. And this Christian Centre, just in one of the streets, just not far from the front, is having a new roof. It's being fully upgraded, redecorated, and I thought it's still operating. They do an awful lot for the community, and I thought it was fabulous to see an old church being renovated and still in use. I thought that was great.
Well, funny you should say that. I'm going to try and get a hold of a woman called Rachel Morley, who is the top lady of a company called Friends of Friendless Churches. And they actually are a charity which renovates old churches, ones that have actually been disused, discarded, and some of them are old Saxon churches, from Saxon times. And medieval churches. And I'm going to see if I can get her onto the program and discuss it, which would be great. Okay.
I think that's fabulous. I'm going to go to this church in a week or two. I'm not sure if it's still got some things going on there in terms of the renovation, but I just thought in a sea of demise, it was great to see a sign of hope
Yeah, yeah.
that our heritage is coming, not being maintained.
Okay. Yield to the gazelle, grass-eating animal. Go ahead, sir. Your shout down.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I've been very, very busy today and I didn't have one, but I've been inspired by the looters of London. And I think it's absolutely excellent. So it's my shout out is for them and the Blade Runners. Let's keep it going. Let's show these people. Let's show this government who is in charge.
Well, is it government with a capital G or government with a lowercase g?
It's a lowercase. It's a very, very, very lowercase, actually.
Okay.
By the way, Trevor, can I just give you an update on your £1.48 bucket? I think you did pretty well there, because I was in a store the other day and I saw one for £4.49, so you did well.
Yeah.
£4.49.
I know, disgusting.
I don't pay that for my cars.
Oh God, I won't be looting that shop.
Yes.
For that. Well, I've got to shout down because IPO have responded to certain subject access requests, and to be honest with you, they've been caught out. They've taken what was a real complaint and now made it extremely personal, and they've got themselves into the doo-doo, and even the MP has asked them to release the information that they're refusing to give me. So, how about that? Things are going to be hotting up. I should imagine, if there isn't a climb down by next week, then they're going to have another problem, because I've been asked to represent 100 artists who are suing different record companies for rights and things of that nature. Oh yeah, it's coming. Yeah. It's coming. It's coming. Well, anyway, so there it is. So we're going to be saying good night. Have you got a shout out or a shout down?
I think I have, actually, yes. Thank you guys for allowing me to join your community.
They didn't allow you. It's me. And you got the... Where's the mic? Don't be talking.
You're very welcome, Ian. Take no notice.
You're now muted, right? That's it.
Oh, you can't mute the guests.
Yeah,
he's not a guest.
He's got the power of the button.
Ian, yeah. You can join PUB, the Podcasters Union for Broadcasting.
Yeah, you can...
help is available if you have any more trouble from...
Yeah, there you go. What did PUB do for you then? See? Go ahead. What's your shout out?
The thing about the churches, I was inspired by that, because I noticed on the way up here when we were driving along, I said to Jackie, a lot of pubs have shut down, haven't they?
Yeah.
That's a shame. Our communities are disappearing.
Yeah.
And I think great strength in communities. And part of all joking aside, part of that JD Sports thing and the Blade Runners, if anything, they're bringing people together, and that's what we need now. We need more people together and acting as communities for the benefit of all.
Indeed. Well, there you go. That's it. It's going to be a good night. I'm rolling with it now. Say good night, good morning, goodbye, sayonara, auf Wiedersehen. Go ahead, Steve.
Goodbye, listeners. Hope you have a great week, and hope you manage to endure the landlord's antics once again. It's so tiring for us every week. We need a lie down afterwards. It's very, very tiring.
Okay, well, the listener didn't actually hear anything because it's going to be edited silence on that part. So there we go. Okay, Statsman. Statsman, go ahead.
I'm going to ditch these continental goodbyes and say cheerio, chaps. And thanks to Ian for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
What about the chapesses?
Oh, sorry. Did I assume your genders, chaps and chapesses?
Yeah, you did.
The non-binary chaps and I don't know.
My pronoun is His Royal Greatness.
Medallion man. Medallion man, he is.
Medallion man, yeah, give it up. All right, say goodbye, Gazelle. Can't hear you, Trevor. You're muted. Trevor, you're muted. Not me. I haven't done it. There you go.
I apologise. Yes, I am. I just want to say, just for the benefit of our guest as well, and the landlord will explain later. Bye.
And I was supposed, we can tell a southerner, but we can't tell him much, but we can tell him to say good night. Cheerio, chaps. There you go. Well, that's it. It's all finished. It's all over. The music's finished. Don't know what else is to say. Steve, you only got muted once.
Hey?
You You only got muted once. He got muted twice.
Well,
It's a record.
it just demonstrates, doesn't it, clearly how much. He's just like a spoiled little kid. Honestly, we're gonna have a word with Mrs. Starkey. How she puts up with you, I don't know.
She doesn't.
Really don't.
Divorce is
That one
looming.
out for years.
Divorce is looming.
Notice he
Every
didn't break his-
opportunity I get now to drop you in it with Mrs. Starkey will be taken full advantage of.
Oh, yeah, says the man that locks his wife out of his house.
Both as bad as each other. I'll give you some tips, Steve. Aye.
Yeah.